time to come and share with us. So welcome Jeff Teddy Roosevelt here, wherever he is.
How do you do, Doctor? How do you do, sir?
May I help you here?
How do you do? No, sir, I've got it under control.
Okay.
Dr. Montgomery, I understand you're either a hell of a scholar or a hell of a gentleman. Which is it?
Well, the hell part's right, but the other part might be a little difficult.
Well,
I'll be a scholar, okay?
you should be a scholar, sir.
Thank
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you all? How are you all? Good to see you. Good to see you. Bully. What a crowd. What a crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, I must ask your indulgence if you don't mind. I ask you to be silent for a minute. You may not know, but just minutes ago, I was shot. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you shall notice. I was shot and grievously wounded in front of my hotel, coming here to give you a speech. Now let me explain what happened. I was coming out of my hotel, mounting into my automobile, and a young man called out, Colonel Roosevelt. I turned and I saw a strapping young man looking at me, and I thought, well, by golly, this must be one of my Rough Riders. And I extended a hand in friendship, to which time he raised a pistol and he opened fire on me, twice. Once missing and the second time striking me in the chest. Well, a bunch of stout young men jumped on him and took him to the ground. They would have lynched him on the spot, and I said, no, do not do that. And I asked him, young scoundrel, why have you done this to me? And he had nothing to say. Nothing. I said, take him off, put him in the jail, I shall give my speech. Now, as many of you know, I am a hunter of great repute, and I've been a warrior for years. As such, I have seen fatality, I have seen death, I have seen mortality, and I have seen wounds. And I have learned that a chest shot is often fatal. Therefore, I spat into my hand, and I examined the spittle for blood or foam, which would indicate, of course, a lung shot. There was none. I felt a sense of relief, realizing I had just been merely grazed by this mosquito bite of a gunshot. And upon examining my clothing, I found out why I had not been killed. You'll see my speech caught the bullet, slowed the projectile down as it entered my chest. This was my 50-page speech I was to speak to you tonight about. Nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, I am here for a very, very serious reason. We need to discuss the future of this nation. The future of this nation. Now, you may recall I took up the presidency after the dastardly assassination of President McKinley. Did I not? Oh, yeah. And I served for 8 honorable years. And I brought this country to a level of respect within the world. We were feared, we were honored, we had friends everywhere. The economy was in great shape. At which point I departed feeling very comfortable that this country is in good hands, and I handed the keys of the White House to my successor, William Howard Taft. William Howard Taft, a good, fine Republican man, commonly referred to, though, as Tubby. You see, he was over 400 pounds, but nevertheless, he was in charge of the country. I then went off with my son Kermit, and we went down to Brazil for exploration. A very wonderful thing to do, very wonderful thing. It opens up the lungs, a little exploration. We spent 3 years on the Amazon, hunting and researching and fishing and exploring. And I came back from there, ladies and gentlemen, after 3 years, I came back with memories, stories, experience, trophies, and yes, malaria. I retreated to my home in Sagamore Hills in Long Island, for some well-deserved rest, resuscitation. I could not believe, within a week of my arrival to my home, there was a caravan of men coming down the road, all calling upon me. Colonel Roosevelt, sir, they would say, we must talk to you. These were respectable men. These were men whose names you would recognize in any day and any hour. And they pleaded with me, sir, you must run for president again. And I said, I've had enough of the government. I've had enough of the presidency. I shall not do it again. And they proceeded to explain to me the sad nature of affairs that this country has turned into. You're probably all aware that when I turned this country over to President Tubby, he had it running smoothly. In the 3 years that have passed, I have come to understand He has turned it over to big business. This country is no longer run by its elected officials. It is run by railroad barons. It is run by financiers. It is run by bankers. It is run by robber barons. This country has been sold off by what I thought was a respectable Republican president of these United States. And these men have come to me and they said, Teddy, you must set up a third party. You must run as an alternative to either President Taft, Tubby, or his challenger, a fine, liberal, socialist Democrat, New Jersey professor from Princeton named Thomas Woodrow Wilson. Doubtlessly you've heard of him. We call him Tommy. Now, Tommy has never run a government. Tommy has never managed a thing. Tommy is simply a professor. And in my way of thinking, if you can't do it, then you teach it. Don't you all agree? Yes. And Mr. Wilson wants to return this country and take it to the channels that the Europeans have taken it. He wants socialism. He wants to knock down the individual. He wants government to run and tell you how to think, what to think at all times. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a disaster waiting to happen. So as a result, we have formed a third party, an alternative. We call it the Progressive Party, or you can call it the Bull Moose Party. And I shall be your candidate for president for the Bull Moose Party. And by the way, it takes more than one bullet to kill a bull moose. Do you not understand? Now, President Taft, although he has run this country into the ground, there's another reason you should not vote for him. The man simply cannot get out of his bath. I have it on good authority that more than once he has found himself stuck in his bath. He's had to summon his handyman to come out and remove him with great strength and force. One handyman cannot do it. They had to summon the stout young men from the White House police downstairs with pulleys, latches, ropes, and dare I say, a liberal dose of whale fat around the inside. They were able to pop him out from his porcelain prison. I say unto you, if a man cannot get out of his bathtub without help, I dare say he does not deserve to be running this country. Do you not agree?
I agree.
You agree, sir? And then on the other hand, we have this weakling from Princeton who's got these wild, crazy European ideas that are anathema to America. So I present myself to you as an alternative to the extremes, a progressive man with a history, a man with courage, a man who has a track record, a man who will take this America and take it back where it needs to be. So I ask of you, next Friday at the election, when it's time to vote, think very well about the future of this country and what you are doing with it. Decide if you want a man named Tubby who cannot remove himself from his bath, or do you want a wild-eyed, firebrand liberal who will run this country into the ground? Or would you choose moderation and a known man? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I realize that the time has come. I must bid you adieu. Yes, it is seriously that time. I must go to hospital and have this bee sting of a bullet wound checked. So I bid you adieu. Good luck. God bless you all. And vote for Teddy and the Bull Moose Party. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.